Today we're going to be looking at some Tinder dates from hell.
Am I the only one that doesn't quite grasp the concept of going on loads of Tinder dates and it being a fun time? I have social anxiety. I will sit in a pub, wait for someone to arrive. They'll be a bit weird. I won't really like them that much. I won't want to even shag them. And then I'll just go home and I could have spent that time going for a drink with a friend. I don't like anyone that I meet on there.
I've never been on a date, mainly because I'm terrified of them. I don't know why I watch too much true crime. I've genuinely got a fear that I'm gonna go on a date with someone and they're gonna drug me, follow me home and kill me. But I couldn't imagine being in a Tinder date and it's really, really awkward. They're just not a talkative person. That's a big fear of mine.
Last Tinder date that I went on, he drove 2.5 hours to have drinks with my friends at my house. And then he proceeded to get blackout drunk, wouldn't accept any water or bread, and was walking around the house like that. Then he said, "Oh, let me put some music on," put N-words in Paris on, and just straight up said the N-word. And we were all there who is this guy? We had to ID him. We thought he was 16. And then he wouldn't leave until 5 p.m. the next day. That's not fun time. I'd rather be doing anything else than a Tinder date. Another Tinder date that I went on, I went to a party at his house with his friends. I went into his room. There was a pile this big of sopping wet, mouldy clothes. I then stayed in his bed that night, but wouldn't go near him. And then when I got up to leave in the morning, the door was locked and I had to ask him for a key. He had locked me in the room. Again, what is appealing about any Tinder date with a man?
I mean, I don't know if we're thinking about the same types of dates, but that's not a date to me. He came to your house, got blackout drunk, and then refused to leave until 5 p.m. the next day. That's a safety hazard. And yet again, you went another date to a house party to his house, slept in his bed, and he locked you in the room. You're missing so many red flags here.
Also, on the off chance that they're not a serial killer and actually you feel relatively safe in their presence, you go back and you sleep with them. Is it gonna be good? Is it? I would have a better time at home just having ordered a Domino's or something, turn on the TV and just have a great... that is so much of a better evening. That's all I've got to say, really.
I mean, by the sounds of it, anything would be better than them dates. Maybe it's just me, he can't grasp the reality of these people. Not her, but people who go on a date and then go straight back to their house right afterwards. You don't know, they could literally be a serial killer, a criminal, they could be plotting to take you out. It's really terrifying. I'm sorry, I won't go on a Tinder date, they just all seem to be terrible. There's probably Tinder dates that are very, very good, but some that are also very awful, but it's you don't know if it's going to be a good or bad date. It only goes one of two ways, good or bad, and that's my fear. Why would you invite a stranger to someone's house? Just meet somewhere public, then you can leave if you wanted to. That's what I was thinking. You have to be very careful with situations like that. If he came to your house, knows where you live. And it's the fact they also got blackout drunk.
So I'm back at it again with another story time, and this one is about my worst Tinder date ever, and it was fucking bad, and it was that recent. Now let me tell you, I didn't ask for him to leave hickeys on my neck. I don't know if you like them, but seriously, Bruss, it makes me feel like I'm in a 12-year relationship. Plus, they're not good for you. Plus, it's just really teenagey, and I don't like it.
Also, keep in mind that hickeys are basically them sucking blood to your skin. It basically looks like a bruise. I actually fell down the stairs the other day. I don't know if you can see it, if it'll focus, but right there, I've got a big bruise. I was looking at that and thinking I was an old person who popped a blood vessel.
Any advice for another guy, any guy that I go on a date with? Don't, because I will genuinely not talk to you again if you leave a hickey on my neck. I don't care. If you're the cause that I get cancer, Brass, watch out.
Wait, I'm sorry, you can get cancer from hickeys? I mean, that's something new.
It was a very spur of the moment thing. We were messaging that day and then we were let's go to the pub because we were both keen for drinks and my son wasn't here. So I was yeah, you know what, cool. So he picked me up and we went to the pub. It genuinely wasn't even a date. He didn't buy me drinks. I'm pretty sure I actually bought him a beer at one point too. But yeah, we were drinking at the pub, whatever. We only had 4 or 5 or whatever because he was I don't want to drive drunk. I mean, I get it, but welcome to Australia.
One thing about the Australians is that they love to drink. They're kind of like the British Northern Irish. That's why I always say Australian people get on really well from people from England, Scotland, Northern Ireland. We're all basically the same.
Plus, welcome to Alice Springs. A lot worse shit happens here. I'm not condoning it, but really... Not really. Anyway, so then we came back to mine and we actually went to his first, just had a few cones and a few more drinks, and he has turtles, he showed me his turtles. Anyway, then we came back to mine and we did the deed. That's the problem, is we did the deed, bruh. I've never experienced anything like this in my life. Like, that's why I'm so about these two, because it wasn't even worth it. Now, if you see this, I hope you know who you are, because I really don't want to talk to you again. And he's been like trying to message me since that day. And like, I was going to make this video the day that it happened, but I was like, nah. Because if he sees it, but if you don't, cool. But if you do, I mean, I wasn't really going to talk to you again in that way anyway, so. But, let me just. He was like.
Oh!
Fitting, or not, he didn't have a fit, but it looked like it, like he was moving the upper part of his body and not the bottom part, so you could probably guess what happened, well, what was happening. Nothing. He didn't thrust, I've never actually been with someone like that, and he was 28 or 25, I don't even remember. But Brass, if that felt good to you, which it did because you finished, I'm genuinely concerned for you. Like, I just remember getting really bored in the middle of it, and I was actually genuinely looking at my wall because like we were in doggy, and I'm like, when is this gonna be over? And I was trying to do like everything, like clench everything to make this guy just hurry up.
That's the thing that a lot of guys don't realise whenever it comes to hooking up with girls. A lot of times they don't get the finish. You know, the guys enjoy it, but the girls don't.
Long story short, literally the biggest waste of time of my life. Literally.
Well, that was a very chaotic TikTok. She seems like a very chaotic person. This reminds me of a guy I seen years ago. Opened my eyes to see his head flinging back and forth rapidly. I nearly screamed with laughter. I don't blame you. Imagine you opening your eyes and he's like that. If he would even be like that.
What's the worst Tinder date you've ever been on?
Okay, so one time this guy told me to come to Queens at 1 a.m.
Ew.
I got on the LIRR. I opened the door. His apartment's a disaster. He's ginormous too. He's like 7 feet tall. He takes me to his room.
Right away, he's
Right
ready.
away. He gives me a double bottle of red wine, one of the barefoot things.
Ew.
He then puts on an entire like Ryan Gosling movie. We watched the whole thing.
Did anything happen
No,
after?
I fell asleep because I drank half the bottle. We had to Uber home at 6 a.m. He also had 2 giant cats that stunk and lived in his room with the litter boxes as well.
Okay, yet again, that right there is just so dangerous. You went to someone's apartment at 1 a.m. He basically locked you in the room. He got you drunk to the point where you passed out. Then you went home at 6 a.m. People not scared of literally getting murdered. All those red flags, her, but he's tall. I mean, yeah, that's very true. Girls, he could literally be a walking serial killer. If he's tall, they'll still get with him. Okay, disclaimer, obviously don't do this. Yeah, let's not do that. If your Tinder dates or interactions go anything like that, just run. What are you doing in a stranger's house at 1 a.m? First red flag. I agree with you, 1 a.m. Why are you traveling at 1 a.m. to see a man? And then you left at 6 a.m. You probably got like 2 hours sleep as well. This is actually so dangerous. Yeah, jokes aside, obviously it's like funny, like ha ha ha, bad Tinder date. However, that right there is quite dangerous, so don't do that. I will not recommend it. That's how you're gonna end up either getting SA, killed, or just traumatized. It's something that you should not do. If you ever are gonna go on a date with someone, make sure you let your friends know who it is, send them photos, your location, if you go back to his, you know, the address, etc. Because you don't know what's going through that person's head. They could be a normal, lovely guy or a psychopath.
So I guess Tinder horror stories are all the rave right now, and I think this one's going to be tough to beat, okay? So I was talking to this girl for a couple days. We decided to get together, go out and get an appetizer. So I meet her, she looks like her photo's perfect. We sit down, and without me getting a word in, this girl starts going off, telling me about how most of her family members are in mental institutions with schizophrenia. Then she tells me this morbid story about watching her best friend die because he was driving drunk. Then she tells me that if she was to ever get pregnant, that she would keep it if it's a boy, but she wouldn't keep it if it's a girl, because she doesn't want to raise a girl in this society. So at this point, I excuse myself to the washroom, and I'm standing there looking at myself in the mirror, like, bro, like, you should just leave. Just walk out the door, it's fine. But I was like, nope, I invited her out, I'm gonna see this through, I'll, like, pay the bill. So I go sit back down, and the food comes, and I've had, like, 2 or 3 bites, and she goes, do you know what eczema is? And I'm like, yeah, that's like that rash that people get. She's like, yeah, so I have that on my feet. And I'm like, oh, like, sorry? Like, whatever, like, it's not a big deal, people get it. And she's like, want to see? I'm like, no, not really, like, I'm eating right now. And she pulls out her phone and she starts showing me photos of the most disgusting, rotten feet I have ever seen. Oh, I'm still so traumatized. Anyway, I'm like, please stop. Like, I don't want to see this right now. And she just like keeps putting the phone in my face. Me like, no, look. And at this point, I'm like, this is a prank. Like, somebody has hired her. Maybe she knows one of my exes or something like that. Like, there's no way. But she just wouldn't stop. So anyway, I'd like get the bill, pay it, and I'm like it's time to go. So I'm waiting with her for her Uber to come at this point. And now she's like trying to come home with me. And I'm like, no, like this did not go well. Like, it's time for you to leave.
There's either two reasons why she acted like that. She's an absolute psychopath who's trauma dumping in you and is a really weird person. Or maybe she's purposely trying to freak you out because she didn't like the way the date was going. There's a thing that some people do in dates where it's like, if they don't like the way it's going, you know, they don't like it, they will try to make you scared of them. Like, they will literally do all that stuff, trauma dump, show fate, etc. But then on the flip side, maybe she's just like that, talking about how her family's basically in a mental facility and her best friend died, showing her rotten fate. But then she did want to come home with you, so I'm a bit confused. She needs to meet the guy I recently went on a date with. He started massaging his bare foot as I ate ice cream. Was this in the restaurant or was this at his place? Please don't tell me you were literally sat there eating ice cream and he started massaging his feet. Side rant, have you ever seen someone walk around without shoes? There's a guy in my area who always does it. I always call him Bigfoot because like he's really, really tall and he's got these big long feet, like clown feet. And it's like, it just walks around barefoot. It's scary. It sounded like she was purposely sabotaging the date. That's what I was saying. It's either she's genuinely like that and a really weird woman, or she's trying to sabotage it. But then on the flip side, she was trying to come home with you, so it's like, is she just messed up? I think you might have dodged a bullet with her. And you even waited until her Uber arrived. You are a nice guy. I mean, to be fair, it's a bare minimum. At least you know he done it. However, don't think you'll be waiting with her for more Ubers in the future because he's probably gonna block her and run away.
What's your worst Tinder experience?
Sorry, my sister's calling me.
She just denied her sister's phone call for me.
I was talking to someone and they just like completely cut me off, whatever. They were like, I'm not looking for anyone right now. And then like 2 months later, they were begging for me again, which it's not my worst experience, but I think it's my best.
I've kind of been through a similar situation. It was like the other way around. Basically, I matched with this guy who was very attractive. He was a bit older, but like he was wearing a suit, he was handsome, etc. We were chatting for a bit in Tinder and then he just completely like died. Like, I thought he died genuinely. A month later, he messaged me back. He's like, oh, can I have your number? I was like, yeah, I gave him my number. We were chatting an iMessage and I was basically like trying to have a conversation with him, just getting to know him. And then he turned around, he's like, I'm not an endless friend for you to text. And I was like, what? I'll put the screenshot up on the screen right now. He basically said that to me and I was like, oh, okay. But it's like, he literally asked for my phone number. I was trying to get to know him. I thought he was interesting. I want to know what he's doing with his life. So I kind of had a similar situation to her, except it was the other way around. He ghosted me, wanted my number, and then didn't want any more of me. It's bipolar, like, it's weird.
Okay, I matched with this guy on Tinder and he took me to Cece's Pizza and he like ate too much and he said his stomach was hurting and this dude literally is like sleeping at the table right now. Like, what do I do? He drove us.
Wake him up. Oh god, I think we're gonna see him. Oh, he's like asleep. Oh, did you see that? Why was he looking at you at the end? Oh my god, he was like in a food coma. The eye contact with the camera, I know that was eerie. Crying by his eyes opening. Oh my god, that's like whenever you make awkward eye contact with someone. Have you ever been out somewhere and you've looked at someone, then locked eye contact, and then looked away, locked eye contact again? It's awkward. Cece's Pizza for a first date. Okay, let's not shame them. Let's not shame people and where they go for a first date. If they want to go to a pizza place, they can. If they want to go to a 5-star restaurant, they could also do that. I've never been in a date, so I can't say anything. However, I'd be scared my date would end up like that. Nah, he on something, or maybe that's just him. Imagine he's not even on drugs, that's literally his personality.
I'm convinced my life is not real. I just came back from the worst Tinder date ever, but not like you'd expect. I've just experienced a relationship from honeymoon stage to, and not even, because I wasn't even ever in it. He was stuck in it. He just absolutely loved me. I'm talking him, he went from honeymoon stage to like to weirdness and trust issues and then to heartbreak. Like, I broke this man's heart. By the end of it, let me just tell you, I made him cry. I made him cry. But I didn't know what I did. So backstory, I just downloaded Tinder again for the first time in like 2 years and I was like, I'm off tomorrow night, so I downloaded it last night. I was off tonight and I wanted something to do, and so I thought that that would be cool, that like I don't know, I'd hang out with someone. So I ended up matching with this dude and I thought he was cool. Like, honestly, I don't do hookups. I don't do that. I mean, that's just me. But I don't do hookups. So like he was sweet and he looked like a nice guy. He really was a nice guy. When I first saw him in person, he kind of just stared at me and like in awe, and he was complimenting me, and at first it was so nice. I'm like, oh, thank you.
Okay, so the compliments have started, however, it's gonna go creepy, a bit sinister. It's happened to me online before where people have said something to me, it's really nice, and then they continue on doing it, and like it turns weird.
He was complimenting me way too much, and I'm a Leo, and that says something. He would then go on to compliment me for so long, for the whole night, and I have videos. I recorded this. I texted my mom, SOS, please, at 10:30, call me. 10:30 came and went, and I could not get out of the car. This man at this point was sobbing his eyes out. Well, maybe not sobbing, but whatever, he was crying. I felt so bad. I could not leave the car for nothing. He wouldn't let me leave. He kept on saying, if you don't want this, if you don't want a relationship, just tell me. And I was like, I don't want a relationship. What is wrong with you? I know I'm pretty, okay? No filter, no nothing. Just makeup, whatever. But it was so bad, and he ended up texting me, and I ended up passing him again because I had to grab gas, and then he was still parked at the same place that I left him at. As soon as I leave, I have a novel. I do have a novel. I still haven't opened it. I don't know what to say. I haven't read it. I don't care. I don't know what to do. SOS. So much more I'm leaving out, but I'm hungry, so bye.
Okay, so basically she went on a date, the guy complimented her, she got a bit freaked out, and then he cried. Why is he crying? Is he maybe crying because he knows that he's like freaked her out? In that TikTok, she talked about how she took videos of him. She's got a secret video. Let's see what he has to say.
What do you mean? It's not possible.
Too far.
Thank you.
I want to be all over you. It's hard. I gotta restrain. I've never been able to go this far.
He said restrain.
I think your exes are pretty.
Okay, but they're not you.
They're not me.
No.
You're crazy.
No, you're crazy fine. So deal with it. I'm gonna be all over you forever.
Oh.
That's what you want. If you don't, you better say so.
We'll have to see. You know, it's only the first date. It's okay.
I've been in a lot of relationships. There's a certain time where I know it's yeah.
Yeah, that was very, very weird. He was talking about how he has to restrain himself from you. That doesn't sound good. Restrain, question mark. Yeah, that was not a good word to use. Oh, nah, he said he has to restrain himself. What does that mean? Does that mean he has to stop himself? But when he says that, what does he actually mean? Because obviously he means something, but I'm not understanding what he means. And I hope he's not meaning what I think he might be meaning.
Worst date.
I drove 45 minutes and a guy finished in 2 pumps. Had to drive 45 minutes home. That's pretty rough.
Okay, that's pretty worse.
I was on a...
I bet you can't beat that.
Well, I think I can.
Go on.
I was on a Tinder date, and I was, giving him head, so much fun. And he told me he needed to pee in the middle of head. And I was like, are you finished yet? And he's like, oh, I just need to go to the bathroom quickly. And he got up and waddled to the bathroom.
Maybe he just had a bit of a nervous pee because he found you so attractive. But that other girl drove 45 minutes there and 45 minutes back for 2 pumps. Yeah, again, these girls aren't getting satisfied, are they? That's not really a date though, is it? They probably met them in Tinder. People do use Tinder to hook up. No values these days. A lock that any key can open is not as valued as a lock only one key can open. Okay, let's not pretend that this didn't happen 50 years ago. I hate how people are oh my god, no values these days. People were doing it 50 years ago. We're not these awful humans who do it. Every single generation has done it. My parents' generation, my grandparents' generation. They've all done that stuff, they've all had hookups. They were all people once. Okay, so the thumbnail of this TikTok says Tinder date had me meet him in Forest and this happened. Why are you meeting a Tinder date in a forest? Are you asking to get murdered? Oh god, that's not a good start.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is
It's interesting, right? You like it?
Yeah. I kind of almost got lost on the way here. But
My directions
I hope you don't kill me.
No, it's okay. You didn't want to wear makeup today?
Excuse me?
I mean, I figured you'd wear makeup. It's a date. I'm
No.
not so sure about the outfit. That's pretty casual.
Ooh, ew.
We're sitting in a
We're
fucking...
going for a hike. I don't know why you're wearing flip-flops.
First of all, you made me meet you in a random forest. I'll probably get poison ivy on the way home. Second of all...
I don't think we're gonna find out what the second of all point was. You'll be lucky if you even get poison ivy on the way home if you get home. There's so many red flags. That first of all, you met him in the forest. You also stepped in a big puddle. Then he was talking about how you're not wearing makeup and he doesn't like your outfit. That is sketchy. Okay, but why would you agree to meet him in a forest alone in the first place? That's what I'm thinking. Like, this right here's a red flag. I hope you don't kill me. Nervous laugh. Yeah, well, I hope he didn't kill you. I'm assuming that he didn't because you like this comment. So I think she's fine.
Okay, I want to tell the entire world about the worst date I've ever been on. So, it was a Hinge date, my very first dating update ever. And first of all, he's like 45 minutes late, and he like told me to show up to the restaurant. And I did. So I'm standing outside of this restaurant for 45 minutes because it's packed and he didn't make reservations.
Here's a little side rant. I can't stand people who turn up late to events, whether it's a dinner date, breakfast, lunch, whatever. If there's a specific time, you have to be there in time. If you're like 10-15 minutes late, I can understand that. Understandable. 45 minutes, no, I'd just be going home. And he didn't make a reservation. I kind of forgot that the whole point of this video is Tinder dates from hell. They're all bad Tinder dates.
He ultimately like comes to pick me up to go somewhere else, and I get into his car and we pull into a parking garage and he tries to show me something on his phone. There's open on his phone and he like doesn't react. He's like whatever.
I've got another little side rant to tell you guys. What's not a side rant, it's a wee story my friend told me. Basically, they were in hospital and I had to look something up in Google in front of the nurse to like ask him a question about it. Up popped that stuff, you know, the guy had in his phone. That popped up in their phone in front of the nurse. Imagine that.
And so I'm like staring at him and I'm staring at the phone. He just like doesn't say anything and I say, is that like what else? I don't know. Huh? He goes, looks like it. And I said, okay. He goes, oh man, this is weird, this is awkward. Like, I know how to make it less weird. Do you squirt?
Oh.
I say, what? He goes, do you know what that is? I said, yeah, but like, how does that make this any less weird? And he works in the medical field. He proceeds to like tell this super inappropriate story about like a medical like situation, it, and I'm like, what the but I'm in this guy's car in a parking garage, so I'm like, okay, I have to go. I need to get into an establishment. We walk into the restaurant. He walks up to the bar. He orders 2 martinis, and I was like, that's weird that he ordered for me. I don't like martinis, so I'm like, no. He takes them down like shots, and he goes, sorry, I drink fast. What? Okay. Throughout the date, he proceeds to like, he calls me poor. I said, my car got broken into. He goes, what kind of car do you drive? I said, blah, blah, blah. He goes, I think it's so funny when poor people break into other poor people's cars. He said my job was stupid. He was like, you're kind of, I don't know, it was bad. And he goes, how old were you when you broke your nose? And I said, what? He goes, you know it's broken, right? He goes, and I go, well, that's news to me. So the end of the night rolls around. I don't know why I haven't left yet. Poor judgment, I guess. And he's like, okay, like, come back with me. Like, let's go to my apartment. And I was like, why? No. I was like, really, no, like, I'm not doing that. And he's arguing and he got kind of aggressive and he's like, you will look me in the eye when you're talking to me, like, I don't know. So I was like, listen, I think you're really conceited. This has been really unpleasant. You haven't been nice to me. And he's ultimately like, I will not be a beta male. You will either come home with me or you're gonna pay for your drinks that I just bought you. And I was like, what the f-? And so I was like, okay, I will literally Venmo you $40 right now to never see you ever again. And so I do that and he leaves. He starts blowing up my phone. I had to block his number. Proceeds to Venmo request me another $20. He was like, your drinks actually cost more. I like blocked him. And then on Instagram has been DMing me like every few weeks, like just unhinged like messages for like literally weeks. What? Is that normal? Has this happened to anyone else?
I really hope it hasn't happened to anyone else. We also talk about that story about how he like works in medical field. I've recently watched a video on YouTube. It was like a video about a guy, like an anesthetist or something like that. Basically, whenever women, you know, were in surgery, he would put, you know, his in their mouth. And like there was other nurses, you know, operating in them. It's quite crazy, isn't it? Because usually with people like that, you think they're really good people, they're there to help you. But then he works in that field, so is he doing the same thing? I kind of have secondhand embarrassment. Like, you really have to have low self-esteem to allow this date to continue. It's your fault. I'm so sorry, but she's literally in someone's car in a garage, and he's weird. Do you think she's gonna try and get away and end the date? No. Top rule, drive your own car, no pickups and first dates. Also make sure someone gives you a lift home, and don't let them know where you live. There's so many people who do Tinder nightmare story times, and they basically talk about how the person dropped them home, and then like they turn up to their house and like stalk them, because obviously I know where to live. He definitely listens to Andrew Tate. I was thinking that as well. The thing is, Andrew Tate doesn't even believe half the stuff he says. He's a troll. He's like Trisha Paytas. Andrew Tate is a professional troll who trolls and says controversial stuff for attention, money, views, fame, etc. However, there's people like this man, he kind of do follow him and take it in their head and like use that mindset in real life. Always drive separately, first date, ladies, the world we live in. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like, she's literally stuck in his car. Ooh, why was he acting like that? That was so weird. It freaks me out that he's going into medicine. Exactly, this is why we need to do background checks on everyone for every job. He was also telling her like a super inappropriate story, so it makes me think, has he done that before? Anyways, we've got part 2. She's gonna show us some of the messages.
Okay, so I like want to show you guys the text. So this is right after he left the restaurant, the date. I'm sorry for that first date. Can't blame me for an even weirder ending though. I'm sleepy. I say, no, we can't try again. Is that a no, never?
Yeah.
What? Talking about the Venmo, and then he sends me a picture of his dog that he like never mentioned that he had a dog on the date. I love how I'm the conceited one and you never even asked about my dog. Huh? So like I blocked him and I got these messages on my laptop. I'm really a pretty good and unique dude. Would feel worse if I didn't spend my days helping people for free, because he's like a medical student, and so he's responding to my like, no, I don't want to hang out with you. Am I missing something? Did you get my second Venmo request? I guess not. My bad. Was only being a dick because I thought you blocked me after showing you how cute my daughter is. His dog. So he's blocked on, his phone number's blocked, his Venmo account's blocked. This is on Instagram. While it's on my mind, all I want is someone to hang out with, cuddle, sleep with at night, and beach on the weekend. So I think that sounds like he wants a girlfriend. My drive is absurd. Otherwise, I'm pretty self-sufficient. I see potential, but not gonna press it if you don't see what's special about me. Just text me if you want to hang. Not to be rude, but for real, don't have time for the drama. So like, obviously, don't respond. And then like weeks later, babe, LOL, what's up? Are you going out tonight? Lame. He's asking me to go to a pool party. What? And then, so on the date, I like mentioned that I have like bad kidney problems. And he says, hey, wanna hang? I got off early. Saw a pregnant woman with a horseshoe kidney today. Reminded me of you. It's kind of romantic. Yes or no? Don't be a drama queen. All right, you suck. And then he unfollowed me on Instagram, and I haven't heard from him since.
Well, let's keep it that way, because that right there is a walking nightmare. That right there is a walking red flag. Also, he's talking about how he's unique. Yeah, you are unique. You're weird. The kidney text LMAO. That would make me want to turn my phone off. Like, at that point, I would just block him. Really concerned this man is someone's future doctor. Exactly, I'm going back to that story that he told her. I have heard that some doctors are really, really inappropriate whenever, you know, patients are under anesthesia. Like, I'm really scared that he's going to be one of them doctors. If I were you, sweetheart, I'd report him to, like, the medical school he goes to. If he even goes medical school, he could be lying about it. Jesus Christ, the dating scene is rough these days with dudes watching Andrew Tate religiously. Andrew Tate doesn't even believe what Andrew Tate says, and this guy's believing it. It kind of is like a virus, isn't it? They watch the videos, get into that mindset, get radicalized, and then turn into people like him. Sometimes I think I'm desperate, and then I see men acting like this. I mean, I personally wouldn't call him desperate, I would call him psychotic. Well, anyways, guys, that's some Tinder dates from hell. I'm not gonna be going on any dates anytime soon. If you've ever had a really bad date or experience like that, please tell me down in the comments. I want to hear about it. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you're a press button, subscribe, and see you all tomorrow for another video.